Tiana here from Mind Body Movement Center. I got a request from a viewer to show some alternatives or modifications for Vajrasana or Thunderbolt pose. So restrictions in that pose could come from the knees, just not having enough range of motion in the knee joint, and oftentimes the ankle joint. So if you don't have enough pointing range of motion or plantar flexion, then it might be uncomfortable to sit like that, and so your feet want to sort of scallop in, which isn't necessarily a horrible thing as long as you're comfortable and you're able to sit in that pose and breathe and have the intention that you have for that pose. So I will show a couple variations to hopefully find some more comfort in Vajrasana. So I don't have a bolster here at the moment, but this is my meditation cushion and it's going to serve as a bolster. So for all intents and purposes, that's my bolster. And I am unfortunately going to turn my back a bit here so that you can actually see my feet. So if I sit on the bolster, it does allow my hips to be a little bit more elevated, so there's less compression perhaps in the knee joint and maybe a little bit more range of motion in the feet. So that is one way to obtain this position. If you find that still within here, it just doesn't feel comfortable for your feet, you can bring in a blanket. So I just have a yoga blanket folded in half and then in half. And of course, just using as much fold as you need to get more support. And so then I allow the ankle joint to rest on the blanket and then let the top of the foot rest off of the blanket. So that just gives a little bit more space for the foot and the ankle. And then if you like that kind of scalloping in motion, or maybe it just feels better for your feet, then you can allow your feet to roll in. If in this position it still just doesn't feel good, you take another blanket, maybe your knees are uncomfortable, then placing a thin blanket underneath the thighs between to allow a little bit more space for the knees. And then you can see the feet either scalloped in or resting more parallel. Okay. So that is bolster blanket version. And of course there is a block version too. If you just need a little bit of support and you want the block. But again, the whole idea is just to lift your hips up a little bit so that your knees have more space and that your ankles have more space. So the blanket at the top of the foot, allowing a little bit more space for that plantar flexion until you get that range of motion. I think that's it. And of course, if you still don't feel comfortable here, then sliding that blanket underneath the knees. So those are some variations, some modifications, and I'd love to hear if it helps you and if you're using it already, or maybe it doesn't help you, and let me know that and I can figure out some other way for you. All right. Thanks so much. See you next time.